Number 10. Grenade Selfie. In one of the most dramatic cases of a selfie gone horribly wrong, a man named Alexander Chechik was recently killed after trying to pose for an unbelievable photo with a live hand grenade. The incident went down in the city of Labinsk, where Alexander pulled the pin out of a live grenade, snapped a selfie, and then sent it to a friend. Before Alexander sent the picture, he was texting his buddy, and this buddy pleaded with him to not mess with the explosive. But his pleas were ignored. The concerned friend replied back to the selfie picture asking if Alexander was okay. But that was the end of the conversation. The grenade exploded, killing Alexander immediately after he couldn't manage to get the pin back into the grenade. According to local Russian news sources, the explosion was so powerful that it literally broke the man in half. Of course, Alexander probably thought that the grenade wouldn't explode as long as he held it tight in his hands. But that wasn't really the case. He blew up and never took another selfie again. Number 9. The video game Binge. During a school holiday in Thailand, a 17-year-old boy named Harikun decided he would spend the entire time off playing video games on his computer. In a bizarre twist of fate, those video games were what killed him. The boy's father found him slumped dead in his chair early in the morning. He tried to revive him, but it was too late. Medics later confirmed that the teen had died from a stroke brought on by playing computer games throughout the entire night. It's not exactly clear how this could have possibly happened, whether it was stress, exhaustion, or whatever, but the teen likely wasn't in the best shape from living such a sedentary life. Harikun apparently had quite an obsession with gaming. The teen would draw the curtains during the day to sit in the dark and play, and at night, he refused to sleep. And even though the kid was great in school, the addiction had him firmly in its hold and wouldn't let him go. Harikun's father said in a later interview that he hopes his son's death can be an example for other parents dealing with teenage game addicts. Number 8. Too many energy drinks. In yet another bizarre accident, a man named John Reynolds died after suffering a heart attack because of too many energy drinks. This is something you hear about all the time, but that you normally take as just an urban legend. But this is a real thing that happens. According to news.com, John Reynolds was daily healthy. He didn't smoke, he didn't drink, but he had a serious issue with guzzling energy drinks to stay awake during his night shifts. He worked as a mechanic and almost always drank an energy drink on his way to work. But one morning in February, John's wife woke to witness her husband gasping for breath. She was forced to perform CPR while waiting for the emergency services to arrive. But it was simply too late. John was taken to the hospital, put on life support, and induced into a coma. Weeks later, he was pronounced brain dead. His wife was then forced to turn off his life support machine, permanently ending their relationship of 10 years. Even more heartbreaking is that John had 3 young boys when he died. But here's what happened. John's sugar levels were too high, and this was all because of the energy drinks. His desire to stay awake by guzzling these liquid heart attacks literally killed him. Does this make you want to never drink another energy drink again? Let me know in the comments below, and don't forget to subscribe if you haven't already. Number 7. YouTube prank gone wrong. A man was shot to death for literally just trying to pull a prank. In Tennessee, a 20-year-old man named Timothy Wilkes thought it would be a good idea to make a YouTube prank on a stranger. Timothy and his friends went to the trampoline park at night with butcher knives. He and his friends, whose identity has been withheld, approached a stranger thinking they had a great idea, and they were going to stage a robbery prank for their channel on YouTube. But as they approached the Urban Air Trampoline Park in Tennessee, they soon learned it was not a great idea at all. Everything went horribly wrong. David Starnes Jr. saw the 2 boys coming at him with butcher knives. He pulled out his gun and he shot Timothy Wilkes in defense. He had assumed that they were literally about to rob him and decided it would be a better idea to shoot in self-defense rather than be stabbed to death. According to Global News, YouTube has actually banned these types of stunts, but that hasn't stopped young kids from going out and trying to do crazy things to get views. In the case of Timothy, his dumb decision cost him his life. Number 6. Fireworks gone wrong. A man celebrating the 4th of July in Maine ended up dead after trying to launch fireworks from the top of his head. Devin Staples had been having the time of his life, out with his friends and family, having a few drinks, lighting off fireworks, and enjoying the holiday festivities. But that all changed when Devin placed a reloadable fireworks mortar tube on the top of his skull and ignited it. Much to everyone's disbelief and horror, the fireworks killed him instantly. It basically burned a hole right through the top of his skull. The authorities said that when the firework exploded, it caused a fatal head injury, though they would not go into any more gruesome detail than that. Devin's brother told the New York Daily News in a statement that by the time he arrived at the scene, there was no Devin left, meaning he had blown himself up beyond recognition. He also claimed that it was a freak accident, and that Devin was always the kind of person who would do something stupid. At this time, unfortunately, Devin's luck ran out. Number 5. Boiled to death. David Allen Kirwan from California was driving through Yellowstone National Park on July 20th, checking out the fountain paint pot thermal area with his friend Ronald and Ronald's dog. They parked their truck around 1 o'clock in the afternoon and went to take a closer look at the stunning natural springs, which, by the way, can get as hot as 205 degrees Fahrenheit. It was then that the dog escaped the truck, ran up to one of the thermal springs, and, being a dog, jumped into the burning pool. The dog literally dove headfirst into the boiling pit of horror, and David, acting on impulse, jumped into the pit after the dog. This was definitely an act of bravery, but nonetheless it was a stupid decision. David jumped into the burning pool, he swam over to where the dog was, and that was when everything went wrong. He had to let go of the dog, which was likely already dead, and then try to free himself from the scalding pool. His friend tried his best to help him out, sustaining second-degree burns in the process, and David sat down and began muttering to himself. He had been burned so badly that he went blind, he had third-degree burns across 100% of his body, and sadly, he died the next morning at the Salt Lake City hospital. This guy tried to be a hero and save his buddy's dog, and it ended with him literally boiling himself to death. Number 4. Travel blogger mayhem. At Yosemite National Park, rangers identified the bodies of 2 people who fell from Taft Point to their deaths. According to the National Park Service officials, 2 citizens of India who had been residing in the United States died after tumbling 800 feet or 244 meters to their doom. It took a full day for their bodies to be discovered, with park rangers needing to use advanced climbing techniques just to reach the precarious location of the bodies. But here's where the stupidity comes into play. The couple had an Instagram account in which they would post the amazing pictures of their travels all across the United States. A lot of their pictures were beautiful, but also look extremely dangerous, such as the photos where one of them is sitting at the literal edge of the Grand Canyon. These are daredevil photos, and it's highly likely that the couple was trying to get yet another dramatic snapshot when they tumbled to their deaths. Even though the authorities did not confirm this, as no one was there when they fell to see if they were trying to take a dramatic selfie or not, it is highly suspect. Number 3. Train surfing gone wrong. In an outstanding act of stupidity, Andrew Minto from County Durham in the United Kingdom died after climbing onto a train and receiving a 25,000-volt shock of electricity. This happened at Durham Station after the man climbed onto the top of the train, touched the overhead cables, and was zapped so hard that he was thrown backwards onto the track. He suffered from severe burns from the shock, and even though he was taken to the hospital almost immediately, British Transport Police reported that he died soon after. Andrew worked for a marketing team. He had a pretty great life, and he was a valued member of the community. His death was a tragic and yet totally avoidable and dumb mistake. He actually climbed onto the top of the train because somehow his shoe had ended up on the roof. Nobody knows how the shoe got up there, but he really did die just trying to recover a sneaker. Number 2. Fallen into lava. A man in Hawaii recently died after falling into a lava tube hidden beneath his garden. This wasn't really the man's fault, but it was still a pretty dumb way to die. According to the local police, the unidentified victim was 71 years old when he broke through a soft part of his backyard while trimming the hedges and fell 21 feet or 6.4 meters into the hidden lava tube. He wasn't found until several days later when friends reported him missing. His body was recovered by the Hawaii Fire Department rescue. They rappelled into the lava tube and extracted his body approximately 22 feet or 6.7 meters below the surface of the ground. By the time they got his body pulled out of the hole, he was already long gone. And by now you're probably wondering what exactly a lava tube is? It's basically an underground stream that lava will flow through during an eruption. Lava tubes form over the course of a few different volcanic eruptions, and during future eruptions, the lava will quickly flow down through them, creating a sort of underground passageway. Unfortunately, these hollow tubes are all over the island of Hawaii, just waiting to gobble up unsuspecting gardeners or tourists. Number 1. Hide and seek to death. In perhaps the most boggling murder mystery of the century, a woman from Florida named Sarah Boone was recently charged with second-degree murder after putting her boyfriend inside of a suitcase and leaving him to die. Imagine suffocating to death inside of a suitcase because of a weird game of hide and seek with your girlfriend. That's pretty much what happened here. According to Fox News, Sarah told police that her and her boyfriend, Jorge Torres, were playing hide and seek when he thought it would be a good idea to hide inside the travel bag. They had been drinking at the time, and Sarah claimed that she had fallen asleep, and when she woke up, Jorge was still locked inside of the suitcase, unresponsive and not breathing. However, a seriously disturbing video was found that turned the case upside down. In the video, Jorge can be heard screaming for help while stuck inside the suitcase, and Sarah can be heard responding, "That's what I feel like when you cheat on me." It looks like Sarah somehow convinced Jorge to get inside the suitcase, which, stupidly, he did. Then she let him die as revenge for cheating on her. He even shouted that he couldn't breathe, and Sarah simply waited for him to suffocate. Brutal, savage, and definitely pretty dumb. Thanks for watching. Which one of these absolutely dumb ways people died makes the least sense to you? Let me know your thoughts in the comments, and don't forget to subscribe for all the latest unbelievable videos.